Aloha and welcome to Honolulu International Airport. I'm here because I've just arrived off the 787-9 flight from Los Angeles. Now, this was the inaugural service from the West Coast here to Hawaii on a brand new 787-9 that I got to experience first class. Now, let's find out if it was worth the wait.
So my journey started in an unusually cold and murky Los Angeles, although in reality my journey started back in 2018, when Hawaiian first announced their order of the 787, and I knew I needed to get myself on one of the aircraft when they finally arrived. Hawaiian's check-in area is pretty large and features a dedicated lane for first-class passengers, which I should remind everyone is a domestic first product, not international first. Having already checked in online, I headed straight through security, which featured long but quickly moving lines, meaning I was airside in under 20 minutes from arriving at the curb. T-Bit's terminal is pretty large, and sadly Hawaiian's first-class passengers don't get a lounge, as it's a domestic flight. So, thanks to my Platinum Amex, I headed to a Centurion lounge, which is situated just after security. It's not a bad space, although the seating seems to meander into a corridor which kind of leads nowhere. So, after finding a quiet spot next to the second of two bars, I helped myself to an early breakfast. Although there's no direct natural light, I have to say Amex have done a good job decorating the lounge, and it certainly gives off a contemporary art gallery vibe in places. Because Hawaiian uses the 200 gates, there was a hefty walk ahead of us, so I made my way along the walkway to the remote gates, where the ground crew were readying for the very first Hawaiian 787 flight from LA. Luckily, I was allowed to board first, giving me a chance to see the month-old cabin in its pristine state. After walking through the beautifully designed entranceway, we turned left into today's 787 domestic first-class cabin. On first impressions, this is light years ahead of its existing A330, and simply put, one of the best seats for international business class currently in the skies. I mean, after all, Qatar Airways selected the same Adient Ascent seats for its 787 fleet and dubbed them a Q-Suite Light product. The first-class cabin features 36 suites in a 1-2-1 arrangement, with all of the seats facing towards the windows, including the centre pairs, which actually does bring passengers travelling together closer to each other, albeit you will face slightly away from your travelling companion. Economy is also pretty decent, with loads of great design details and of course extra comfort seats offering lots of legroom. In fact, there are beautiful design details everywhere from floor to ceiling. It's clear that there has been no stone left unturned in the creation of this aircraft, and the entranceway featuring these undulating ribbons of koa wood makes for an impressive first impression for every passenger. It's not just the physical product. Hawaiian have gone to town with mood lighting as well, including a starry sky in the first class cabin, and check out these toilet signs complete with Hawaiian shirts. Okay, so now let's take a look at the seat, and it's my first time in the Ascent seat, and it's pretty much what you would expect from a herringbone product. There's plenty of storage, including a closing vanity unit complete with mirror, wireless charging for smartphones, which actually works, USB power, and a neat hand controller, not that you really need it. There's also a dimmable personal light and a do not disturb function. In fact, this function was so new that when I started playing with it, the crew only found out it existed too. I love the table. It's big and sturdy, and actually the craftsmanship of these seats seem excellent, and it's something I would expect from Adient, who has a 40-year plus history in seat manufacturing. The screen is pretty large too, there's a little glare on the screen as well, and Hawaiian's movie offering was okay, nothing too special, but fine for these 5-hour flights. The headphones weren't great sadly, and it would be great to see these upgraded in the near future. They also have a handsome in-flight magazine which is well put together. As we settled into the seat, the crew then started the pre-flight service, which included handing out menus, Mai Tais, or sparkling wine. It's at this point I had to remind myself that this was a domestic flight. With such an impressive hard product, I was expecting an international long-haul flight, so I had to readjust my expectations slightly, as the menu was fairly simple and there was no amenity kit to be seen, but that is understandable, although this would be a simple touch to outshine the competition on this very popular route. We were actually impressed by the service. The crew on Hawaiian genuinely have pride of their product and their home, and this sense of ohana or family shines in comparison to other carriers flying from the West Coast to Hawaii. On time and not soon enough, we were leaving a miserable grey Los Angeles and headed west to the beautiful Pacific archipelago. Promptly after takeoff, service began, which started with our tables being laid and macadamia nuts being handed out with a post-departure drink. What I really liked was that the crew have built the privacy of the seats into their service design. So after the tables are laid, the doors are unlocked and the crew close the door, allowing you to settle into your private cocoon. Sadly, the doors don't fully close, but that does avoid the loud banging of other mechanisms on other seats. Considering the strength of the Mai Tais, I opted for a sparkling wine, which was the standard North American generous pour. I opted for the pancakes with pineapple and syrup, while the omelette looked just as tasty. And a simple keepsake approach, which so many airlines now do, was the Hawaiian shirt origami salt and pepper shaker from Kahala, which was yet another nice nod to the Hawaiian heritage running through this carrier. I think this is the first time I've had a dessert service after breakfast, but I wasn't complaining. This rich chocolate lava cake was moist, decadent, and the perfect ending to the meal on this mid-range flight. That said, they kept the island spirit flowing throughout the entire flight, and the crew kept checking in on everyone rather than just sitting in the galley to make sure that everyone had what they needed. After breakfast, I headed to the bathrooms, which did offer prints on the walls, but apart from that, it was sadly pretty empty of any amenities or fresh flowers or design details found elsewhere in the cabin. With a few hours to kill, I stretched out the seat, which is spacious, and decided to get some rest using these fairly basic bedding options by NoHo Home. Now, it is important to say both bedding and amenities on international flights will be far better, and when the 787 starts flying internationally with Hawaiian, this will be an excellent experience. As we continued our flight westward, the lights dimmed and the starry sky ceiling came into full effect. I actually love their IFE system. There's a lovely touch which has a calming lock screen with the flight time remaining, making it easy with one touch to see how long you have left to sleep if you wake up in the middle of the flight. As we approached Oahu, the crew kicked into gear once again and landing forms were handed out, as well as credit card pamphlets and Hawaiian cookies. Now, the crew were that kind of crew where they encourage you to take as many as you liked. It's those friendly family feel elements that really make this carrier. As we started our descent, I was left reflecting on the design details of Hawaiian's new Dreamliner. It's not in-your-face tropical decadence like Air Tahiti Nui use, it's a considered, multi-layered product that just simply works. It's an aircraft that I feel, even if I travelled on regularly, I would find new design details every time I flew, and it's that careful design consideration that makes this new fleet for the carrier a standout. Okay, so there's no Wi-Fi, and USB-C would have been great too, but these aircrafts would have been cutting edge a few years ago when they were originally meant to be launched. And apart from that, there's absolutely nothing that I can fault. I started my trip with high expectations. After all, I had been waiting years to try it, and I am glad that they were truly met. Hawaiian isn't always the cheapest option to get to the islands, but there's a sense of occasion as soon as you step on board, and that's certainly worth that little extra. As soon as these 787s start flying internationally, this will put Hawaiian on the global stage. Thank you as always for watching, and tell me, have you flown on Hawaiian 787 or A330 in the past? How do they compare? What do you think of these new interiors? Please do like, subscribe, tell your friends and family, and give us a comment below too. Until next time, mahalo and safe flying.